All right, now moving on to example 3. This is an interesting example because in this case, it is not really that easy, actually it might not even be possible, to solve for y. That is, you can't get y by itself just by trying to solve this equation for y. So you have to use implicit differentiation in this case. So how do we go about doing this? Same way as the last two examples. You want to derive the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So let's handle this first case. Well, one thing that I'd like to recommend when you're doing these is every place you see a y, put some parentheses around it that kind of reminds you that, hey, you need to use the chain rule here. All right? So going along here, trying to derive the first term, I have to use the chain rule. The outside function is this 2 blank squared. Okay? So I'm going to take this 2, move it down in front, and multiply it by that other 2, and then subtract 1 from the exponent. So I have 2 times 2 y to the first power. That's not a prime. So I'll just erase that, just so we don't get confused. And this is all inside of parentheses here. Then I multiply by the derivative of the inside, which is just y prime. Next one is this 3 parentheses y. So I'm going to derive this now simply by taking my y and turning that into a y prime. So that takes care of the second term. Third term, easy, 2x. You've derived this function 1,000 times. All right, on the right-hand side, 0. So, okay, following the strategy for this, our goal is to get y prime by itself. So all the terms that have a y prime on them are going to stay on the left-hand side, and all of the stuff that does not have a y prime are going to move to the right-hand side. So I'm going to underline these things. We want to keep these and then move this. Doing this gives us, well, I'm going to turn this 2 times 2 into a 4. So I have 4y times y prime plus 3y prime. And this is going to be equal to minus 2x because I subtracted this 2x from both sides. I took this away. Okay, so far so good. So then notice that everything on the left-hand side has a y prime in common. So then what we're going to do is factor out that y prime. So we're going to factor out this guy and we're going to factor out this guy. So what does this give us? Gives us y prime times 4y plus 3 because we pulled out the y prime. This is then equal to minus 2x because we didn't do anything with the right-hand side. What's the last step? Last step is to divide both sides by this 4y plus 3. Okay, and when you do that, you're going to have y prime is equal to minus 2x all over 4y plus 3. And that is your final answer. So again, what was the strategy? Implicitly derive both sides. Make sure that you have all of your y prime stuff on the left-hand side, all your non-y prime stuff on the right-hand side, factor out your y prime, and then divide. That's how you do this. Every single time, they all work the same way. Okay? So try the next example yourself before clicking on the video or clicking on the solution. I'll bet you can do it at this point.